Good afternoon and welcome to our midday briefing. Today is Monday, the 22nd of September 2025. As you know, President von der Leyen is in New York to participate in the United Nations General Assembly. The President is there together with the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, the High Representative, Kaja Kallas, and several members of the College who will take part in events around the Assembly in New York. We will be publishing further details throughout the week with our daily news. We will also circulate and publish the speeches that the President will deliver, so stay tuned. Still in New York, you may already know that EU Foreign Affairs Ministers will hold an informal meeting there, chaired by High Representative Kallas. The Commission will be represented by Commissioner Sikela. Ministers will discuss Russia's aggression against Ukraine, as well as the situation in the Middle East and other EU priorities during the week of the General Assembly. High Representative Kallas will hold a press conference after the meeting, scheduled for around 8:30 p.m. Brussels time. So, as usual, when we have meetings of the Council, we invite you to reserve your questions on these topics for this dedicated press conference. De plus, ici à Bruxelles, nous avons une réunion du Conseil Agriculture et pêche aujourd'hui et demain. Les commissaires Hansen et Cadiz représentent la Commission à cette réunion. Depuis ce matin, les ministres discutent de la politique commune de pêche, le pacte européen pour les océans et la politique maritime et aquacole pour l'Union européenne pour la période 2028 à 2034. La Commission présentera également ses propositions pour la politique agricole commune après 2025. Une conférence de presse avec le commissaire Cadiz aura lieu vers 18h45. Là encore, nous vous invitons à réserver vos questions sur les sujets de l'agriculture et la pêche pour cette conférence de presse dédiée. Et voilà pour nos annonces aujourd'hui. Nous pouvons passer à vos questions. David, kick us off.
Hi. This might be for you, or it might be for Anna Kaiser, I'm not sure. CBAM, so the export. I was just wondering a background question on when the timeline is, what can we expect exactly when, and a general architecture without going into the details, what we could expect there. Thanks.
Thank you. I am looking at Anna Kaiser, who is making her way gracefully to the podium.
I can refer to what Commissioner Hoekstra has said on this when he was asked the last time, that we are aiming to release this proposal by the end of this year. That would extend the CBAM scope to downstream products and address any circumvention. But I do not have anything further to say on the timeline except to stick to the Commissioner's words on by the end of the year.
Follow-up, David.
Exports? Is that when is that for?
It's starting next year.
Is that clear, David?
So we expect. I mean, could you just say in terms of what we're exactly expecting? So before the end of this year, well, it's the downstream products.
Yes.
And next year.
And circumvention, addressing the circumvention of CBAM. But as always, we do not really give details on what is going to be in the proposal before we are actually presenting it. But I absolutely have to stick to what the Commissioner has said on this. He's the one leading the work on this, and this is what he said, that basically it will be done in the spirit of simplification that everybody is well aware of, and that's it. And by the end of the year, we will be able to know more.
Very clear. Thank you, Anna Kaiser. Other questions on the topic of CBAM to begin with? No. Other questions for Anna Kaiser? Musa.
Thank you, Olof. Yes, I would like to ask you about this weekend's demonstration in New York by Greenpeace with a big banner showing, let's say, a kind of bill for the damages caused by 5 major oil companies. And I would like to, and then compare that figure also with $5 trillion with how much money has been pledged until now by different countries to United Nations Loss and Damage Fund. It was about less than 800 million. It showed a number of EU member states. I just wonder if also EU itself pledged any funding to that fund. And secondly, we talked about that on Friday, about this letter of intent, which Commissioner will deliver at the Climate Summit later this week. I just wonder if this will become public. Thank you.
I missed the very end on the letter of intent. Sorry, the statement of intent. What was the question?
Yeah, exactly. Can you see that? I mean, is this public already? Thank you.
I will start with that. So, as we discussed on Friday, there was an agreement among the ministers, the environment ministers last week, that there will be a statement of intent that be submitted to the UNFCCC, which will then allow our representatives to attend the UNGA, ongoing UNGA, equipped with an intended NDC, the nationally determined contribution that ranges with the ambitious 66.25 to 72.5. So there is a meeting now that will be starting, or the UNGA has kicked off. The submission of the statement of intent is in the hands of the EU presidency. And the choreography at UNGA is in the hands of the United Nations. So we will have, as was announced on Friday, President von der Leyen will be there, Council President Costa will be there. They will be participating at the leaders segment, but all this information is not really for us to communicate who is sitting or standing where and at what time. This is for the UNFCCC. This is for UNGA, for the United Nations, to communicate on their website when these events are taking place. So the statement of intent is in the hands of the Danish presidency at the moment, in concrete terms.
Thank you, Anna-Kaisa. Mose, follow-up?
I just wonder about first question, that was about if there were any EU pledges to this United Nations Fund for Losses and Damages. Thank you.
On the Loss and Damage Fund, we have made pledges in the context of previous COPs. So, yes, we are involved in this, if that is the question, yes.
Thank you, Anna-Kaisa. Please, go ahead.
About 2 weeks ago, Commissioner Jørgensen said that it's almost impossible to end energy imports from Russia, and now it's possible in 12 months before. So what has changed basically in a week, except that President Trump is making pressure? But why this change? And is it credible to change this in 2 weeks?
First of all, this is not concerning what has happened in the last 2 weeks. This is something that has been happening since 2022. This is when...
said 2 weeks ago that it's impossible to end energy imports before end of 27. Is that it's very ambitious, even impossible. That changed in 2 weeks.
The proposal that we gave in June was based on an assessment that was done earlier this year. And as I was saying earlier last week, that it was based on information that we had to be quite realistic on what we can put in place to give those market operators who trade this commodity sufficient time to find alternatives. What we are seeing, and that assessment, as I was saying, was done earlier this year because we made the proposal already, we presented the proposal already in June. So quite a bit has changed, and one of these things is that there will be new sources of LNG coming to the market, making it even more liquid and more and better supplied in the next months, and therefore we saw that it will be possible to make this proposal now.
Follow up.
Yeah, but Commissioner Jørgensen said something else 2 weeks ago. He said something else 2 weeks ago.
I think we have to put all of these comments in the context of what we are doing. And we have to also see what is the difference between the proposed sanctions and what is the difference with the repower proposal that we made. And the fundamental difference is that when there is peace in Ukraine, sanctions can be lifted. But the repower proposal is wider. First of all, it also refers to oil. And it is not limited in time. These are two different things now, so we should also not mix them up. The sanctions do not replace the repower proposal that is now with Member States and the European Parliament. And we have always been saying that sooner the phase-out happens, the better it is. We made the proposal with the timeline we did. It is for Member States and the European Parliament to decide whether they also want to advance it. But it's important to understand the difference. Repower legislation is not limited in time. Sanctions, per definition, are different in scope and in purpose. So we are basically, our repower legislation proposes a permanent ban of imports on Russian gas, both pipeline and LNG, for security of supply reasons. It has no time limitation, and it also refers to oil. And the proposed sanctions on Friday refer to LNG only. These are the differences.
Many thanks, Anna-Kaisa. Could I remind you, please, colleagues, to state your name and the media you work for before you ask your questions? Koen.
Yeah, thanks. Koen Verhelst for Politico. About this topic, I was wondering, the fact that the Commission now proposed a sanction on LNG, is that because there have been several member states that have asked for this for a while because they're worried about the legal basis and arbitration on the Repower EU side of the equation? And my second question on this, could you clarify whether a sanction on LNG will stop companies like Total from reselling LNG that comes from Russia to non-EU countries?
On how the sanction proposals are prepared, I do not follow that, and also on the very specific details, I think from my side I do not have anything to comment. Olaf, if you want to say anything on where this proposal came from.
Nothing to add beyond what we usually say, Koen, that, you know, we work to prepare the sanctions packages in consultation with our member states. We've made our proposal for the next package to them now. They will discuss it and hopefully agree it soon. We can't really go beyond that, but go ahead if you have a follow-up.
Well, it's really about the legal difference between a legal proposal and a sanction, you know, where one of them companies can say, okay, wait, this is the EU is sanctioning me, so I have no choice but to comply with this. When, as you know, when it comes to legal proposals, then you can be you can get like arbitrated by you know, under investment protection, for instance.
I think this is more for member states to reply, Koen, for the legal base, is it not? But if there is some angle that we need to reply as the Commission, we'll come back to you on that. Thanks very much. Other questions for Anna-Kaisa? Jorge.
Yes, hello, Jorge Liboreiro, Euronews. A question on the sanctions indeed and energy, because we know that for the past 3 years there's been this exemption granted to Hungary and Slovakia to allow the provisions of the Druzhba pipeline, and this exemption has not been revised at any point. And now we have the pressure from the United States, you know, to end imports of Russian oil immediately, not in a gradual manner. Don't you think that this is the right time to put the revision on the table? I know it will be complicated, but don't you think it's time to at least have a debate on this exemption that has been going on for at least 3 years? Why was not included in the 19th? Thank you.
Thanks for your question. To be clear, all these aspects, as they relate to sanctions and as they relate to phasing out of our reliance on Russian fossil fuels, are discussions we have with member states constantly, all the time. So, yes, we are having that discussion with them, and we've made the proposal we've made for the 19th package. Now it's for them to debate and hopefully agree on soon. I have nothing to say beyond that unless Anna-Kaisa has something to add. Other questions for Anna-Kaisa? Go ahead.
Valeria Pashko, Public Broadcast. It's follow-up. So a commission proposed to ban Rosneft and Gazpromneft. Will it influence somehow the oil supplies through Druzhba pipeline? Could it, like...
Okay. We will, of course, be better placed to give all the details once there is a final agreement. We are now talking about a proposal that we made, but according to the information available to us is that these two companies that you mentioned, Rosneft and Gazpromneft, are not materially involved in supplying this pipeline.
Thank you, Anna-Kaisa. Other questions for Anna-Kaisa? David, I'll come back to you if I don't see anyone else. 1 second, David. Other questions for Anna-Kaisa? David, go ahead.
Yeah, David Abiyago for Argus Media. So the changes proposed, the sanctions proposal on Friday, that just purely relates to Regulation 2014/833, the Russia sanctions. Those are proposed changes to that, or are there other elements there in those proposals that relate to some other piece of legislation? Thanks.
Which one do you mean? Because I don't recognize all our legislation by the reference number only, unfortunately, yet, but it will happen. Just give me a couple of days. We'll read into it.
The general Russia sanctions, which have, the ban, the various bans, the listings, the vessels, those sort of things, or is there something else that we've seen before previously? For instance, on fertilizers, there was the tariffs proposal. Anything that is not unanimity?
David, thanks for the question, but the process here is the same for the 19th package as it was for the previous 18. We're not going to go into detailed technical descriptions about what's in the proposal we've sent to Member States, because Member States need to debate it. Member States might tweak it, and Member States will then hopefully agree it. At that point, as we've done with the previous 18, we'll give you all the information you could possibly want, and probably more. So you can have a follow-up if you want, but my answer is probably going to be the same. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is it totally under unanimity, or are there other elements? That's the question, basically.
But for which part, David? I mean, again, you're asking very technical questions for something that is still being discussed. So which part are you asking us is for unanimity? Sanctions packages, all aspects are decided by unanimity.
Okay, so on Friday, the President proposed sanctions that are completely under unanimity. There's no other elements like we've seen with certain agricultural products. That's the question.
Yes, I confirm that unanimity is needed. Thank you. Other questions for Anna-Kaisa on energy or the many other topics she covers? I don't see hands in the room. I don't see hands online. Other questions for us today? Eddie.
Thanks, Olaf. So the President gave an interview to a few European newspapers that was published over the weekend. But the Soir has written that this was under extremely strict conditions imposed by the Berlaymont. Could you confirm that the President refused to meet the journalists to actually hold a face-to-face interview, and as Le Soir wrote, and why did she insist it was only a Q&A via email? Thanks.
Thanks for your question, Eddie. My response is, give me a break. When the President doesn't do interviews, people aren't happy. When she does do interviews, people aren't happy. The President gave an interview to a number of leading media where she spoke in detail about many of the top priorities for her and the European Commission and the European Union at the present time, and that's all we have to say on that point. Other questions on this topic? Eddie, you have a follow-up. Quelle surprise.
It's not my job to give you a break, Olaf, although clearly you deserve one, but that's not my place to say. Was there any link with the meeting that the President held last Wednesday? Was there a quid pro quo that she wouldn't do a real interview, but she would meet the publishers and CEOs and editors-in-chief off the record, behind closed doors, not on the public calendar instead?
Thank you for your follow-up question. No, there was not. And in relation to the interview, the President agreed a format with the newspapers in question. Therefore, it's surprising to me that they would criticise it, given that they agreed to the format. And that's the height of what I'm going to say on this topic. If anyone has other questions, go ahead and ask, but that's the same answer you're going to get. Il Maestro Caretta.
Olof, please don't tell journalists give me a break, because you are there and you are paid by you taxpayer to answer our questions. Thank you. David Carretta, Radio Radicale. The first question is, can you confirm that the President had a meeting with several CEOs of those media, and why it was not published in her official agenda, and when she had this meeting? Secondly, why have you said that she spoke with journalists? In fact, she had given written answer to journalists, which is quite different from a face-to-face interview. Why you are using this language, which basically is not true? Thank you.
Okay, David, first, on the point where I said give me a break, that was meant slightly tongue-in-cheek. I think it's okay to occasionally have a sense of humour, even from this podium. And as I said to Eddie, and I'm now repeating to you, in the context of this particular interview with this particular group of newspapers, they agreed a format with the President. As you rightly pointed out, it was written format, and that's all there is to say on the matter. On your second question, I will need to triple-check what the situation was at the meeting with the CEOs. I don't have that information to hand, but I will certainly do so and come back to you in good faith, as I always do. Other questions on this topic? Jan.
Now, I would just, Giavo Piscielli, Bloomberg News. I was curious, you said, of course, that the interviewers agreed to the format of the so-called interview. Was there any other alternative provided? Like, was there a multiple choice, or was it just take it or leave it?
Thank you for your question, Jan. The format agreed was the format agreed, and that's all we have to say on the topic. Eddie, I'm going to give you one last shot at this.
El País refused. El País is part of the LENA, the Leading European Newspapers Alliance, which is a format that was negotiating with the President on this. And El País, leading Spanish newspaper, refused to take part in the interview and didn't publish the interview because of the format that was imposed by the Commission, and, as you say, agreed with the others. So do you have any comment on the fact that the Spanish newspaper refused to publish the interview with the President of the Commission?
Thanks for your question. No, I do not have any comment. And now, if you agree, we will turn to Oliver. Do you have a question online on this?
Yes. Hi, Oliver Grimm with the Austrian newspaper Die Presse. Can you tell us when you're going to put that meeting she had last week on Wednesday in the public record retroactively? And did she have any other lunches or dinners or breakfasts with groups of CEOs where she spoke about current, legislative matters of their interest, which are not in the record? Wouldn't it be a good idea to put these things automatically in the record so the public knows who she meets, which is actually the way she should do this? Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Oliver. To the very best of my knowledge, the meetings that need to be put on the President's public agenda are put there. But as I've said, I will double-check on the details of the meeting already referenced and come back to you. And I'm not aware of any other meetings of the nature you asked that need to be flagged. Other questions for us today on other topics? Let me see someone who hasn't asked already there at the back. Can't see who it is.
Jean-Marie Margot from German national radio ARD. So I have a question on trade. I just wanted to know if the tariffs on cars from the US side have already been lowered to 15% as you demanded in your joint statement. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you for your question. So far they have not, but as we have explained before, when that executive order is implemented, the 15% will apply retroactively to the start of August. So, we look forward to it happening, and we think that will, be a useful next phase in the implementation of the commitments made by both the EU and US in their joint statement from August. Other questions for me on trade? Sabina, go ahead.
Sorry, still on cars duties. Because the executive orders apparently stated that nothing is agreed until is agreed, and is postponing the application of these duties. What do you expect by that? Like a final agreement, and then we will. How can the car industry go ahead without knowing if it is going to happen in 1 month or 2 years? Thank you.
Thanks for your question. The answer to the second part of your question, how can the car industry go ahead, is, as I've already mentioned, because they will apply retroactively, so they can make business decisions on that basis. The executive order you referred to, which came, I think, 1 or 2 weekends ago, I can't remember the exact timing, that was essentially an executive step that was required in order for the final executive order putting in place the 15% retroactively to happen. And so, as I've said, we look forward to the US implementing that executive order as soon as possible, in line with the agreement we made under the joint statement. Other questions on trade? Carl.
Carl Meyer for Les Echos. Do you confirm that the EU-Indonesia FTA will be finalized tomorrow in Indonesia? And what can we expect in terms of communication on your part?
Thank you for your question, Carl. I can confirm that Trade Commissioner Šefčovič has just touched down in Indonesia. The intention certainly is to finalise political negotiations for an EU-Indonesia trade agreement. We can't provide more details at the moment because that final talk needs to happen. But you can rest assured that if the outcome we hope for and expect transpires, there will be plenty of communication material for you to sink your teeth into, and you will have seen in our notice that went out earlier today that we plan to hold a technical briefing at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning to go through in detail what those final discussions produce. Other questions for Olaf on trade? Kuhn.
Yeah, on the new measures on trade on steel coming in to replace the safeguards that are currently active. The Steel and Metals Action Plan said that it would come at the end of or before the end of the third quarter. That is before the end of September. Last week, through the European Steel Association, it became clear that it's actually going to be in October. What caused the delay on the Commission side by about 2 weeks? And do you think there will be any negative effects on that? Thanks.
Thank you for your question, Kuhn. To be clear, the Commission has confirmed no such delay. If any such delay happens, it will be for reasons that I will at that point explain, and we are aiming to come forward with it as soon as possible in order to give our critically important steel sector the confidence they need to plan going forward. Other questions on trade? Musa.
Yes, thanks again, Olof Musa, Buses Times. Just come back to the question about the tariffs on cars. I mean, you said that the Trump administration already has issued an executive order, but that's not enough. You said it will be followed by another executive order. And that surprises me, considering the fact that President Trump, he doesn't consult, with his ministers and so on to prepare decisions. He issues executive orders whenever he likes. So how do you explain that delay and the need for 2 executive orders to carry out this? Thank you.
Okay, so the first, let's say, more procedural answer to your question, Musa, is that in order for the final executive order that implements the retrofitting of the 15% to EU car exports to the US, there was a necessary pre-step, which was another executive order. That's just a factual explanation of how these things work. And for the first part of your question concerning the timelines in the President's mind, that's a question for the President. We look forward to him implementing the clear commitment that he and his administration made as soon as possible. Other questions on trade? David.
Thank you, Olof. It's a question on trade diversion from China. I saw that 10 days ago you published the new figures for August, I guess, and I've seen quite an increase on different tariff lines and so on. So I'm wondering if you can draw some conclusion from those figures. Is it time to act on this issue? Thank you.
Grazie, David. You're quite correct that the latest report from the trade diversion monitoring came out last week. As I'm sure you're all aware, the way it operates is that it has a heat map to show what increases are happening and from where. We continue to monitor the imports. We're aware of increases from certain regions and for certain sectors. Our assessment at the present moment is that there is no such increase that is a cause for alarm. But I remind you that the purpose of setting up this trade diversion task force and this new system in the first place was precisely to flag things at the earliest moment so that we have all the necessary information and the best possible preparation to respond if we identify any risk. We don't see any such risk at the present, but if anything, the fact that we can have this discussion now shows that the Trade Diversion Task Force and this heat map is doing what it's supposed to do, i.e. helping us to prepare should there be something to prepare for. Other questions on trade? Carr.
Yeah, it's a follow-up. I wonder if you have a breakdown by products of these figures. Like, do you notice an increase of imports in products that beforehand didn't arrive in Europe, like very high-tech products with lots of added value?
Yeah, thanks, Carl. The whole point is to be able to identify changes in trade patterns, particularly increases, obviously, coming either from a certain country or region, referring to a specific product, or both. And so, yes, it is broken down to a certain extent. I can't remember from the top of my head how detailed the breakdown is, but as always, if you have specific questions about, like you can see on the heat map what the broader trends are. And if you have more detailed follow-on questions, just come back to us and we'll help as we always do. Other questions on trade for Olaf? Don't see hands in the room. Other topics for us today? Razia.
Thank you. My question is going to be about digital, so it's for Thomas. I wanted to ask because EVP Verkunen spoke to AFP and mentioned that the EU was going to be finalising some investigations into online platforms, and the quote was coming weeks and months. And you love how I'm a stickler for knowing exactly when, because Madam Verkunen had made similar remarks again to AFP in May about having some decisions soon. So I just wanted to know, what does coming weeks and months actually mean? Could we be a bit more specific? And if I'm not wrong, I had been away, so I'm really sorry if this was already done. But in terms of Meta and Apple, they had some days and the Commission had received what they were willing to change or not willing to change in line with their rules. And I wondered what's the latest on that one and whether I've missed something that has extended that deadline. Thank you.
Thank you, Raz. Let's start with the first question. In the coming weeks and coming month means in the coming weeks and coming month. Now, let me say a bit more on that. For those who still had doubts that EVP would enforce the tech legislation as she claimed, now you have the confirmation. She talked to you, she told you that media outlet, and said that indeed she would enforce it. So that's ensuring the one who needed to be ensured. A second point, this was something I had always been saying.
Is there a problem with the mic, folks? Okay, we're seeing online some colleagues flagging that the sound isn't great. Do we need the mic? Okay, we'll do the karaoke thing. Just give us a second, please. Be careful what you wish for, Raz.
Thank you. Does that work now? Can we have a confirmation? Does it work online? Yes?
Colleagues, can you flag online that it's working now? Okay, all good. Go ahead, Thomas.
Good. So I was telling to Raz in the coming weeks and coming month means in the coming weeks and coming month. Now, for those who still needed to be reassured on the fact that EVP would enforce our tech legislation, the DSA, the DMA, the AI Act, well, here you have your reply. She told it to the AFP indeed. She will enforce it. Now, this also highlights once again what I have been telling from this podium several times, meaning that these investigations, no decision can be taken as long as the technical work is not ongoing. If the work had been finished already now, she would have been in a position to adopt a decision. This is not the case. Hence, her commitment to do it in the following weeks or month, because the case is simply not ready. So on your second question, relating to the DMA and Apple and Meta. Indeed, you're right, Raz, following the decisions we took on the 23rd of April, if I'm not mistaken, both Apple and Meta, following the fine that they received, had 60 days to get back to the Commission and to offer a proper alternative. Exchange is ongoing with both of these platforms. Now, again, if proper commitments had been on the table, the Commission would have already closed these cases. This is not the case, so all options remain on the table. The platforms can still settle the case, but the Commission can also still issue periodic penalty payments. So dialogue is ongoing, and let me not prejudge potential outcomes.
Thank you, Tom. Jan.
Do I have to repeat it? Gianvo Picelli, Bloomberg News every time, or is it okay the first time? Okay. Just building up on what Raz asked, there was an interesting couple of lines this morning in Politica about the fact that the conclusion of the DSA investigation into X is fast approaching, according to two Commission officials. Since there seems to be something brewing there, could you actually firm up that and give us a timeline?
Yes, I was waiting for the mic, but I have it in my hands. I can again confirm that work is ongoing. The same. If we're ready to adopt a decision, we will adopt a decision. Today, no decision can be taken because the case is still ongoing. The services are still analyzing it, are still analyzing also the rebuttals offered by X. Now, same reply as for Raz, just for Apple and Meta. If proper commitments were on the table today, the case could have been closed. We did it with TikTok Lite in the past. These commitments are not yet on our table. The discussion is not yet satisfactory, hence the fact that the investigation is ongoing. Let's see where this will lead us. But again, as EVP Virkkunen has said, once the case is ready, she will adopt a decision.
Thank you, Thomas. John, you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I just wonder whether the newfound romance between Trump and Musk at Charlie Kirk's funeral overnight is going to make the deadline slide even further.
I can guarantee you that this will not be the case. Again, we have the sovereign right to legislate. We're carrying out our investigations in full independence. Our enforcement is done in full independence. Once the services are ready, the political level will be able to adopt a decision.
I was about to say, give me a break when you asked that question, Jan, but I don't want to make David angry. So, yeah. Clara.
Yes, hi, Clara Gontley for AZ Shimbun. I have a question about the roundtable that was organized by the Netherlands regarding the upcoming elections with digital platforms on the 15th of September, where most were there, most digital platforms were there except X. So I want to know, can you confirm the European Commission participated in that? will the European Commission organize another roundtable itself? Like, why is it sometimes the Commission that organizes, sometimes it's the country? I'm just a bit confused on that. And finally, I want to know if you have a reaction to the fact that X is being so uncooperative on this. Thanks.
Thank you. I can confirm that the roundtable took place last Monday, if I'm not mistaken. Now, on the process, it's indeed always for the national authorities, so for the National Digital Services Coordinator, to set up such a roundtable. It's a voluntary one. There is no obligation to do it. But practice in the past has shown that usually there is a fruitful outcome and that it is quite efficient. The Commission, on our side, we're invited to these roundtables, so I confirm that we participated to that roundtable. Now, as it is voluntary, it is also voluntary for platforms, so I can confirm that X did not participate to that one. The reasons are on their side. It's not for me to justify. It's voluntary, and X, I can confirm, did not participate in that roundtable.
Thank you, Thomas. Other questions for Thomas on digital or the other many files he covers? Go ahead. I can't see you there. Go ahead.
Elena.
Elena, yeah.
Thank you. Elena Apostolidou from Greek Public Television. Is the Commission concerned about the security gaps revealed by the recent cyber attacks on airports? And what measures does it plan to take to address these hybrid threats in the future? Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Let's see if Anna Kaiser wants to jump in after. What I can tell you is that the Commission over the weekend and still now has been closely monitoring the cyber attack that has indeed disrupted airline check-in and boarding systems across multiple airports. Now, while passengers are still facing disruptions and delays today, aviation safety and air traffic control remain unaffected. Now, on our side, I can confirm that the Commission is, of course, working with Eurocontrol, with ENISA, with national authorities, airports and airlines to restore operations and to support passengers. Now, what does it tell us? Indeed, from a cybersecurity perspective, this highlights once again the importance to transpose and to fully transpose the NIS2 directive in the field of cybersecurity. NIS2 has identified aviation and transport as highly critical areas, and therefore we indeed urge all member states to transpose quickly and efficiently the NIS2 directive.
Thank you, Thomas. Other questions for Thomas on digital or the other files he covers? Go ahead.
Valeria Pashko, public broadcaster in Ukraine. It's on drone ball talks, which was convened by Commissioner Kubilius and is going to take in place this week. Could you please share more information about that, about date, the Ukraine's participation, and maybe media opportunities, everything that you can share with us at this stage? Thanks.
Yes, indeed, Valeria. Thanks for your question. On the day, this meeting on the potential upcoming drone wall is scheduled for this Friday. Whom will participate on top of Commissioner Kubilius and the Commission? The 7 frontline member states. So Estonia, Latvia, Finland, Lithuania, Poland, Romania, Bulgaria. And to that list of 7 countries, I can indeed add Ukraine. Now, what will be discussed? This is a concrete deliverable from the frontline visit that President von der Leyen and Commissioner Kubilius have done earlier this month. This is a concrete follow-up also to the announcement by President von der Leyen in her State of the Union speech on our need to set up such a drone wall, as the recent attacks are incursions have already shown in Romania and in Poland. What will be discussed? Member states remain, of course, in the driving seat. We will see what their interest is, how we can help them, what their capabilities are, what their needs are, and following up on this discussion, we will then decide on potential next steps hand in hand with these member states and Ukraine and the other member states.
Thanks, Thomas. Just to add as well to the list of countries, Estonia. We take these incursions with the utmost seriousness, and as Thomas has rightly pointed out, it adds to the urgency the President identified in her Soteu speech. You have a follow-up.
Who was invited from Ukraine? Is it the defense minister or maybe someone else?
So an invitation has been sent indeed to government members of the Ukrainian government. I will not go into which names exactly. I will be able to confirm participation, however, and whom exactly participated at a later stage.
Many thanks. Go ahead.
Just a small follow-up. Maybe I didn't understand. Who will participate on behalf of member states? They will be personally here, or it will be with a video call? Thank you.
This will be an online call with member states and with Ukraine. It's government officials who have been invited, but I will not give the names now. This is for member states to confirm, and we will be able to confirm afterwards. Yes.
Sorry. So not ministers, just people who, on technical, it will be more technical level discussion, or?
It will be a political discussion. So we are, again, at government level. I would definitely not exclude ministers participating on Friday. Yes.
Thank you, Thomas. Musa.
Again, it's also about the drone war. I read in New York Times this weekend that, as we know perhaps all, that Russia is mass producing drones, which are overwhelming the Ukrainian air defense. And there seems to be an alternative in the form of laser in intercepting those drones. And it was mentioned there was an Australian company who was already sold its technology to some NATO country in Europe, but it will only be operational, it seems, by 28. It's too late. Perhaps, do you have any comment on that? I mean, will this issue, you think, also be discussed at this coming meeting on Friday?
Thank you, Musa. We don't have any particular comment on that other than to repeat that we are taking every possible step, building in particular on the commitments made in the President's speech at Soteu to support Ukraine in its defence, in building up the production systems required for it to be able to precisely keep up with the mass production of drones and other armaments happening in Russia. I think that's the priority here, to put in place support structures, funding structures, to allow that to happen. Anything to add, Thomas, just in general? Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, last call for questions to Thomas, please.
Right here, it works, yes. My name is Milana Golovany from Ukrainian League Net. Will the European Union increase its helps to the Baltic states if the United States stops some security aid? And the second question, how dangerous is this decision of United States considering Russia's recent actions against Poland, Latvia and Estonia?
Let me start maybe with the first question. We will always work hand in hand with the US. I mean, we will always keep working with like-minded partners. Now, of course, we all agree on the fact that Europe needs to do more. Europe needs to invest way more in its own defense capabilities, hence also the ambitious readiness package that we have proposed in March. SAFE is fully ongoing. You're referring to Baltic countries. They will receive significant support under SAFE. They have been taken loans. We now expect, of course, their national plans that will reach us by the 30th of November. So one thing is, of course, we will keep working with our partners, NATO partners, like-minded partners. And on the other hand side, Europe needs to do more and invest in its own defense capabilities, and this is fully up and running.
Many thanks, Thomas. I don't see further questions for you in the room or online. Thank you very much. Other questions for us today, please.
Thank you very much, Stran Papvid Nepsava. There is a Hungarian request for regrouping around 600 million euros in the framework of Commission midterm review, the cohesion midterm review. When can we expect the decision? And also, once there is a decision, do you think, is it going to be based on fundamental rights concerns or legal situation in Hungary, or is it going to be about geopolitical decisions and how to deal with Orban?
Thank you for your question. I give the floor to Maciej.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you for your question. As you know, the midterm review exercise is going on, and including Hungary, like other member states. What I can say is that indeed Hungary submitted their initial proposal back in March. It was discussed within the Commission and between the Commission and Hungary. We sent our observations to Hungary, and based on these observations, Hungary resubmitted their proposal at the beginning of September. Now this proposal is still being discussed. There is no decision taken yet. But obviously, referring to your second question, the Commission is fully committed to ensuring that fundamental rights are respected when it comes to the implementation of cohesion funds, and in this case it will not be differently.
Thank you. Maciej, follow up.
So does it mean that if the Commission decides to give some money to Hungary, it's because you're satisfied with the, I don't know, child protection law or the higher education law, and it has nothing to do with the sanction packages, for example?
Let's not speculate about our decision. When it's taken, I'll be able to give you more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Maciej. But just to be clear, the decisions are made on objective criteria, as Maciej explained in detail, not on wider political criteria. Other questions for Maciej? Not in the room, not online. Thank you, Maciej. Other questions for us today? I don't see hands raised in the room. I see Catherine online. Catherine, go ahead.
Hello, can you see me? Hear me?
Yes, see you and hear you. Go ahead.
All right. So I have a question on health. Will Commissioner Várhelyi attend the UN high-level meeting on non-communicable diseases and mental health in New York this week? I didn't hear it at the start of the meeting.
Thanks for your question, Catherine. We've published a chapeau just before the start of the midday detailing which commissioners are attending and where. I don't think Commissioner Várhelyi is included in that list. So the answer to your question, to the best of our knowledge, is no. If that's not the case, we'll come back to you, but that's our understanding. Other questions for us today? David.
Yes, thank you, Olof. Since the agenda of the Commissioner in New York has been raised, have you seen that the President will not attend the session of the two-state solution conference, or at least it's not announced among the event of today? I'm wondering if it is correct. She will attend this conference on the two-state solution, and if not, is it a political choice? Thank you.
Thanks, David. If we're referring to the two-state solution event being hosted by President Macron in Saudi Arabia, she will attend and she will speak at it, as will President Costa. Thank you. And with that, I think, unless there are questions in the room, Catherine, do you have a follow-up? I see your hand still raised. Catherine, your hand is yellow, but I don't see or hear you.
Okay. Hi. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So my follow-up to the question about whether the Commissioner would be present at the high-level meeting was about the Commission President von der Leyen's commitment to lead on global health. So if the Commissioner isn't there, why isn't the Commission putting forward a representative at that meeting and at a Commission level? And just more generally on the Global Health Resilience Initiative, I've had a written response from the Commission, but it's really a list of what the Commission is already doing, listing all of its activities. And I just wanted to have a clearer understanding of what will be in a Global Health Resilience Initiative and when will we see it? Do we have a timetable? Thanks.
Thanks for your question. Eva is going to come up to provide an answer.
Thank you for the question. If the sound is bad, it's due to my cold and not due to this microphone. Catherine, as you know, we try to be a leader in the global health resilience, and the President mentioned the global health resilience in her Soteo speech. So this is a plan that is now being developed. We are working on the details. We can also say that we are also working on several proposals. It goes also into preparedness. We have introduced medical counter measures. We have introduced preparedness union, and all this will be part of our further discussions with the partners on the international stage.
Thank you, Eva. Do we have any other questions for Eva, who has joined me on the podium? Catherine, you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't really answer my question. That is just reiterating what's already being done, and I'm not getting a clear sense of what that commitment to resilience initiative is. But maybe there just isn't a clear view at this moment. But my second question on global leadership that President von der Leyen promised is the question of the US aid goods that are currently stuck in a warehouse in Geel. And again, I've had a response from the Commission on this, saying the Commission stands ready to explore ways to ensure that the supplies reach the intended beneficiaries. So again, on the leadership question, what diplomatic efforts are being undertaken at an EU level to release those goods and make sure that they do get to the beneficiaries? Thanks.
Go ahead, Eva. Guillaume will come up on this question. On your first question, Catherine, I'm told that Commissioner Mikalev is participating in that meeting at the UN, so there will be European Commission participation there in order to provide EU leadership. So on the second question, Guillaume.
Catherine, on your questions on the stockpiles that you were referring to, so preventing the destruction of these contraceptives on the territory of a member state is national competence. So we would recommend you to reach out to the Belgian authorities to have further information on where they stand on their also bilateral relations with the US. I can refer to our general position that you already know. When it comes to a commitment to promoting sexual and reproductive health and rights, including family planning, investment in this area is really a key priority for us, and the EU is a key contributor to social and economic development in that field. It also goes with a commitment to support the United Nations Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency and supplies partnership. I can go on, but I mean what I can say is that we are fully support. As I said, reproductive rights. We are committed to this. We support international organizations in that context. But for this very specific issue, I would advise you to get in touch with the Belgian authorities.
Thank you, Guillaume. In answer to your question, Catherine, yes, we are making diplomatic efforts, but as Guillaume has explained, there are limitations to what we can do, and that is all we can say for the moment. Do I have other questions for Guillaume? Go ahead.
Milana Holovan, Ukrainian Liga Net. I would like to discuss upcoming Moldovan elections. Recently, before these elections, Ukraine put sanctions on some Moldovan politicians from the Ilan Shores circle. Will the European Union help Ukraine by also putting sanctions on these people? I mean, in this short term. And in what areas actually are Ukraine and the European Union cooperating before these elections?
Listen, there isn't much I can share at this stage. You know, sanctions is a matter for member states. I will share with you. I mean, there isn't much I can share at this stage. I will check.
Thank you, Guillaume. With that, folks, we've been going for 1 hour precisely. Unless there are any other questions in the room or online, we will finish. Okay, very quickly, please. Go ahead.
I have a quick question on the plan to use Russian frozen assets for Ukraine's loans. Can you give information when the details of this concept will be presented?
Not at this stage. Thanks for your question. And with that, our midday press briefing is over. Thank you and have a good afternoon.